Hi guys, I'm going to be walking you guys through my curly hair routine. I'm 9 months postpartum, so I'm having a little bit of shedding, a little bit of regrowth, and all the fun stuff that comes in between that. So let's wash my hair and then I'm going to walk you guys through my routine. If you ever want to feel better about the amount of hair you lose. Okay, so I just washed my hair. I'm going to list all the products that I use below. I use the entire Loma Nourishing line, so it's really good for curly hair. It keeps everything moisturized for me, and it's one of the few shampoos that I haven't had a reaction to on my scalp. I have a really sensitive scalp, and my scalp breaks out in these weird type of reactions. I'm not sure if it's dermatitis or some form of eczema. It basically starts like burning my scalp. I think it's something that's really common in just dry, coarse, curly hair, which is what I have. So I usually buy this product by Dermacen. However, I'm gonna try and remake that today. I have all the ingredients that were listed on there. So the ingredients I'm gonna be using are MCT oil, tea tree oil, and rosemary oil. It's mostly gonna be filled with MCT oil, and then I'm gonna do about maybe a third of rosemary, and then finish off with some drops of tea tree. Right about there. I'm gonna top it off with some rosemary oil, and then just a few drops of tea tree oil. Shake it. You might want to leave a little more room than I did for this. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my little microfiber towel off, and I usually just kind of put in a few drops and start massaging it into my scalp, into some of those trouble areas. And for me, those trouble spots are kind of right around the top of my crown, so like where the top meets right here. So I kind of try to make sure I really hit those spots. And I have noticed a difference of when I use and don't use a scalp treatment. Massage, I got it all up in there. Alright. I might have put more tea tree oil than the original product has, because the smell of it is a little stronger than it was in the other product, but that's okay. Moving on to the rest of my hair. I'm gonna go ahead and part my hair. Just kind of part it down the middle, and then with the rest of it kind of just straighten out. Next thing I'm gonna do, and I got this tip from a hairstylist. She recommended I put oil on before I put my styling products in, just because my hair's so dry. She said that putting oil on before my styling products will help seal in the oil. You guys can clearly see my hair is pretty dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm using the Loma Nourishing Oil treatment. And I pretty much just start at the ends. Alright, so the next product I'm using is this Pattern leave-in conditioner, and I'm using the Palo Santo line. I really like Pattern's products, but I'm not the biggest fan of their original line scent. It's just a little bit strong for my preference. It's kind of a personal preference. You either like it or you don't like it. But I was really excited to see that they launched a new scent line, and I much prefer this scent. It's a lot lighter, much more floral. So if you're someone who is sensitive to their other line but is a fan of their products, I would recommend checking out this line. It's got the same level of moisturization as all their products do, and again, the smell isn't as overbearing as their other line is. I am going to run through just really quick, and I use this kind of wavy knockoff of the original. I'll link this down in my description of the type that I use, but this thing is really great for styling. So I'm just going to run that conditioner through my hair really roughly. I just realized my light wasn't on, so if you notice a change in lighting, that's why. Okay, so I just kind of finished brushing most of the product through my hair. I detangle in the shower, so That's why it's super easy when I am out of the shower. And I can tell just by looking at my ends that they need a little bit more product, so I'm gonna go ahead and put in a little more leave-in. Okay, so I just put the mousse in my hair. I'm gonna go ahead and start combing it out. I usually try to do half at a time, just so that way the product doesn't dry before you finish styling it. So I'm gonna push this hair back while I comb and work on the strands. And so the way I just do it is I kind of, as you guys can see, I flip the comb so that the hair starts to go through those little strands. And then once I get a good amount in, I just kind of scrunch. And of course you can be super meticulous and be a lot more detailed about this than I am, and you can do comb scrunch, do smaller strands for a more defined look, but I'm lazy and the only person that sees me is my daughter and my husband, so so much. Just finished, and this is kind of a difference between the styled side and the non-styled side. And I was definitely a little lazy the further back I got, so the less defined it is back there. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this side, and then we're gonna start diffusing. Alright, most of my hair is combed and styled. I will take some time to kind of figure my bangs out a little bit. They kind of frizz out. So we'll finger curl those a little bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start diffusing my hair. So I don't have a very fancy hair dryer. My mom got me this hair dryer. Thank you, Mom. It's a Conair Infinity Pro. It might have been from Costco. I'm not sure. I'll see if I can find it and link it below. But I think the thing that makes any dryer is gonna be your diffuser. So even if you have a crappy hair dryer, if you have a good diffuser, it's gonna make all the difference. I definitely have noticed a big difference in my hair when I blow dry with a diffuser and when I don't blow dry with a diffuser. Even when I travel, I always bring this thing. So I use the hottest setting, and I use it on high because I don't like to blow dry my hair for too long. It doesn't burn my hair. I only blow dry my hair for less than 5 minutes, I want to say, just to kind of seal in the product, get the shape, and then I air dry the rest of it. So I get it maybe about 70% dry. And again, I don't blow dry for very long. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip my hair and blow dry. And that's how I wash and style my curly hair. Is my finish curly wash day. That's my finish. My curly